they are the only places that students feel safe and at home in a learning environment among their peers. It is important we continue to push for any continued increase in funding so that all 4201 schools can provide all the necessary services, technologies, and opportunity for their students so they can grow in society. We also kicked off many pieces of legislation, especially with People's Inc., that has to do with protecting kids from bullying, cyberbullying, and educational awareness on any students and people with disabilities. Now, Mr. Abbe, who is standing over here, does not look more than 21 years old. But apparently he's 300, so happy birthday. And we had a conversation earlier, and he says that olive oil is great for his skin. But what distinguishes Abbe from educators of the deaf before him and ensured his place in history is that he allowed his methods and classrooms to be available not only to the public but to other educators to help expand and grow. And as a result of his openness, as much of his success, his methods will become so influential that their mark is still apparent in the education today. So I stand here today honoring also Abbe, and I stand here in honor that I fight and champion not only for your school but for all 4201 schools across this great state. You have an ally in me. I will continue to do that, and I just want to say thank you very much to everybody here. I appreciate it. I had another part that I had to do. I'm not telling jokes or anything. I want to introduce Frank from Erie County's offices. Come on, Frank.
I think Mark and I are about the same height, unlike Tim. So, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for inviting me to this event. It's wonderful. It's great to be able to celebrate your 300th birthday. Not many people get to do that. And say thanks for all the wonderful work that St. Mary's School for the Deaf has done over the years, and just thanks again. Take care. And now I'm supposed to introduce Pam.
It's a very deaf-friendly environment today. Well, we're here today is a very special honor. The St. Mary's School for the Deaf has the statue of Charles Delapay here. And it's a really, really special honor. I'm thrilled to see so many people. We've got students and teachers, we've got people from Deaf Adult Services, alumni. We have collaborators from all over the community here to help us celebrate today. I have to get my notes. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second to get ready. Get my Post-its. As you know, today is the 300th birthday of Abbe Delapay. Now, at the World Federation of the Deaf, the WFD, they have recognized him every year. But here in the U.S., we haven't yet. So we thought we'd take the time to recognize the achievements of Abbe Delapay and the impact that he's had not only in France, but with schools for the deaf in the U.S. If you look at the pictures in the display table, you will see different pictures of the School for the Deaf. We have gotten about 32 pictures that we have put on display. And it's really, really wonderful. So if you get a chance, go on in and take a look at those pictures because they are really great. Now, the World Federation of the Deaf, along with the National Association for the Deaf, set up the statue here back in the 1930s. Abbe started teaching manual alphabet to children. He had a small group of about 40 students, and those 40 students have become the school that we have today. So because of Abbe, we have our school and we have sign language. I mean, we can't thank him enough for that. What would we be doing today if he had not come along and established this for us? I mean, he has had a huge impact on our lives. And really, not only here at St. Mary's, but at the whole world. So we're going to have Jason come up, and he's going to explain a little bit about the life of Abbe and how he has impacted the deaf world, about why we have the statue here, and who's involved with the statue. So Jason's going to explain a little bit more about that. So enjoy your day. And well, I'd like to start first by introducing Steve Lovey, the Executive Director of Deaf Adult Services. Hello everyone. Welcome to Deaf Awareness Week. We are thrilled to see all of you here today. I especially want to thank the Buffalo deaf community. We have a very rich history here. And compared to other communities, you all are just enriched with the history of the deaf. Now this is the only statue of Abbe Delapé in the whole world, and you have it here, and you're very fortunate to have it here on the school property. There's a lot of schools for the deaf, there's a lot of deaf communities, but here in Buffalo, you're very fortunate not only to have the statue, but have the tight-knit, strong deaf community that you have. And it's good to see that deaf history and the deaf culture is alive and well in Buffalo. So as you know, there's been many deaf awareness events this week. And we're coming to the end. Tomorrow we're going to have the Deaf Social, the Deaf ASL Social. And that's at Sonoma Grill. That's tomorrow night. I believe it starts at 7. On Saturday, you have your event here at St. Mary's. You're having the Family Fun Festival. That starts at 10 and goes to 3. So please come back on Saturday, come and join us. It will be a really fun way to finish Deaf Awareness Week right here at St. Mary's. So now I would like to introduce you all to Abbe Delapé, your speaker here today. I am 300 years old. I am Abbe Charles Michael Delapé. That is my name sign. I would like to tell you a little bit about myself. My father, he was an architect, an honored architect for the king. He built many, in Paris he built many buildings. He worked hard, and I thought to myself, what am I going to do with my life? As I was growing up, I watched my father work. My father told me, I have to go to school, you must study. So I decided I wanted to go to law school. And I was very frustrated with law school. God was calling my heart. And I thought to myself, what am I going to do? So I dropped out of law school and I became a priest. And I thought to myself, how am I going to serve the community? One day I saw 2 young girls. They were deaf. They were twins. And they were using their hands to communicate. They were sewing. I tried to speak to them, and they didn't even turn to look at me. I tried to speak to them again. They didn't glance my way. And then I looked up, and the mother was telling me that they're deaf. And the priest before them was trying to work with them and teach them, but he would speak to them and they just didn't understand. This priest passed away. So I spent time with the girls, I studied the girls, and they used their hands to communicate to each other through gestures. And I looked at some of the other schools, and they were talking to the kids.
And I realized that that didn't work. So I encouraged the kids to use their hands to communicate. They didn't need to try to teach them to speak. They could use language through their hands. So I was able to teach them. Their sign and their vocabulary grew. They were understanding and learning, and it was very exciting. There were many deaf students that were, people being forced to learn to try to speak. So I decided to set up a school. And I recruited deaf children to come to this school so they could use sign to communicate. And so we set up the first signing school for the deaf. The king and the queen heard of this, and they had money. They were willing to invest. But I didn't want them to invest because I wanted to be a free school. So I took money out of my own pocket to invest in the school because I wanted the kids to grow up and to be successful and have jobs and to communicate. We started out with 40 students, and it was the Royal Institute for the Deaf in Paris, France. And the school grew and grew. I passed away. I was ready to leave, and the students were coming to me and telling me not to leave. But more schools were being set up for the deaf, and I told them that they could do this. I encouraged them to set up more schools all over. I died in 1789, and after that, there were schools popping up all over, deaf schools. And they included sign in the schools. The National Association for the Deaf was able to establish this statue here in St. Mary's in my honor, and it's just to remind you that we, the deaf community, we use our hands to sign, and we have the right to sign language. Thank you.